Hi, my name is Jamie Lynch, and you are listening to Eating Habits, my podcast about everything restaurants. I will explore the human element of the hospitality business, and I'll talk to the who's who in restaurants, explore their stories, and hear what's on their minds in the ever-changing landscape of the food and beverage industry.
This is Joe Sasto, and you're listening to Eating Habits.
Hey everyone, it's Monday again. That means another episode of Eating Habits. This week, I catch up with my buddy Joe Sasto at the Charleston Wine and Food Festival. We had a blast catching up, having a nice conversation about his mustache, his pasta tools, and even his favorite snacks. So give this episode a listen, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, here we go. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Jamie.
Welcome back to Charleston, dude.
So good to see you.
What's going on, man?
Very exciting.
It's super exciting. I missed your face.
Can we, first of all, set the scene for
Yes,
everybody
please.
listening? Because
Please.
I imagine this isn't where you normally always record the podcast.
This is the first time we've recorded on SV Blue Healer.
I feel very privileged to be on SV Blue Healer. Not everybody knows what SV Blue Healer is, and it's not an intuitive guess as to what that means either.
Yes.
It's your sailboat.
Sailing vessel Blue Healer.
A sailing vessel. It's a vessel.
This
It's
is a
proper
vessel.
term.
This is a vessel of joy and inspiration.
It's a love boat.
It is a love boat.
It's a love boat.
That's exactly
We're sitting
right.
in the marina in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful day outside. It was actually shorts weather today.
I'm in my shorts right now.
I was wearing shorts, but I realized I went out last night and it got cold as soon as the sun set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
we're
I
right.
say the word cold very loosely
Yeah,
because I'm kind of a princess when it comes to weather. I like Goldilocks.
You're
And maybe
going-
if Goldilocks is a princess, then yes, I also wear that
Are you
crown.
sensitive? Are you sensitive to the weather?
I'm very sensitive to the weather. California boys are not made for drastic changes in weather.
So let's talk about where you're at right now.
I'm
Because
in San Francisco.
You had a move.
Oh, you're right. Because last time you and I met,
You were an LA boy.
I was an LA boy. I'm
Yeah.
back in San Francisco now. You know,
Okay.
LA was great. I still like LA. The food in LA is absolutely amazing. I just didn't see myself planting roots in LA long term.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things I didn't like about LA.
Like what?
The traffic being one of them. And it's
You're the
like,
first person to say that.
Yeah, right. And I mean, like, until you live there, you really don't understand what traffic is. And
Yeah.
it's like where was I? Somewhere. I was in, like, I don't even know. Maybe wherever I just was, somewhere in Arizona. And there was like maybe like 4 cars at a traffic light. And the guy I was driving with, he's like, dude, I'm sorry about this traffic.
You're like,
I was like,
bro, this is amazing. We got
This
so
is
much space.
Nothing.
Yeah.
The traffic is when the light turns green and no one moves. And that happens 3 times in a row.
Yeah, right?
And you're just going to pull whatever hair you have left out of your head and go insane. And I didn't do myself any favors when I was living in LA. I was like in the heart of Hollywood, right there.
Yeah,
near,
you were
like,
right, like
near
on
the
that.
Chinese Theater.
Yeah,
and, like,
that's like the
Sunset
middle of it.
Boulevard, and just
Spider-Man's out, like lives outside.
Yes, there was like always Iron Man or Spider-Man
Yeah.
nearby. If I needed a photo op, I didn't like have to get to Times Square.
You need to get saved.
Very similar to Times Square, I imagine, if you're living in New York.
Yep.
And so, fast forward, LA was great. I did my 3.5, 4 years or so there.
That's a long time. That is an accomplishment.
It's a good stint.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a good stint.
Yep.
And it's funny, like a friend of mine had like just bought a house. He's like, oh my God, I love LA, like planting roots. And I was
Whoa.
like, dude, whoa.
Who are you?
Whoa.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
a
I'm so
house,
happy for you.
Adulting, all
Peace.
of those things. But
Gotta
I had to move back to San Francisco. I had an opportunity. We got a really good place we love. And
Where
that's, like,
are you at? Where are you at in San Fran? Because I used to live
we're
in San Fran,
near-
right?
We're near Candlestick, where the stadium used to be, kind of like
Okay.
on the inner bay.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I like to refer to it as Candlestick Bay. I don't know if that's really a
You-
place.
you're branding your own neighborhood?
It sounds great, because it's not the Dog Patch, it's not the Marina, it's not the Mission Bay.
Right.
It's Candlestick Bay.
Okay.
It's a
I
bay,
like it.
There's water. It sounds great.
You heard it here first. Candlestick Bay, San
Candlestick
Francisco.
Bay, San Francisco. So
love
that's
it.
where we are.
Cool.
And it's awesome. My heart will always be, I think, in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
That's just like where I learned to cook. I fell in love. Like everything about it. It's
Okay,
just
so let's
like-
talk about all that stuff.
Yeah.
You started it. I want to talk
Let's
about
dive
learning
in.
to cook, falling in love, San Francisco.
all of the things.
Yeah, and really, I want to know about I want to talk a little bit about the past 2 years because I haven't seen you in a hot minute, and
Has
a
it
lot's
really been-
changed.
It's been 2 years.
At least, yeah. It's been.
Wow.
It's been. I
Longer.
think it
It's had
was
to have been
3.
longer.
It was probably 3 years the last time that you were in Charleston for wine and food.
Right, because
So this
we were
is like a
cooking. And
We did the
were
dinner
cooking
at
formerly Five Church, now
Church and Union. Correct. Thank you for that.
Yes, of
Thanks
course.
for getting it straight.
And someone even said to me, they were like, "Oh, Church and Union, is this brand new? Jamie must have just opened it." I was like, "No, I think he just rebranded." But good job noticing.
Yeah, way to be on. That means our marketing team is crushing it. They know what they're doing.
They knew what they were doing.
Okay, so let's talk about San Fran, and so I'm interested as to like what you're up to now. I don't think a lot of people know what you do. Like
we could spend a lot of time talking about that, which could potentially be a good conversation because it's different than what we normally talk about on podcasts.
Right.
Normally we do podcasts and it's like, oh, the culinary journey, and it's like I feel like if anybody wants to know that about me that's out there listening,
check my bio.
Yes. Well, I've told my story many times.
Yeah.
Well
what
I haven't told many times is kind of this transition into for lack of a better word, a creator.
Yeah.
A creator.
You are a creator.
So now I kind of
you are full of content.
a chef and creator. And it's like I'm not only creating content, I'm creating a lot of things, but content
Tantos?
definitely being one of them. Yes. And so it's been an interesting transition, and I think we all saw it like with 2020 and the rise of social media and all of these different platforms and outlets for people to express themselves and really make cooking accessible.
Totally.
And there's been a huge boom in cooking, and it started virtual and now back to real life. And there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to being a creator, working in the digital media.
What do you think those what is the biggest misconception about?
Well, if you don't know this, I think everybody knows this, but maybe we throw it out there that like Instagram is made to make your life look glamorous.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
My life looks amazing on Instagram.
Everybody's life looks amazing on Instagram. That's the point of Instagram.
Right. But it's a little dirtier than that. It's a little
dirtier.
grimy sometimes. It's a little tough.
And there's a lot more ups and downs. And
Totally.
I think one thing that maybe I've seen some other creators start to normalize this is you almost like get this like social fatigue from doing it, and like it takes a lot to put yourself out there and even get started.
Totally.
And so I've talked to a lot of other chefs, a lot of other people that are like have seen me succeed in this area. And we've had long conversations about like how to get started, what it takes to get started. I've given like lots of advice on it, but to really open up and put yourself out there is not an easy thing to do.
Sure.
Because you're essentially just like letting it all out for strangers all over the world. And it's not always good or nice things that people have to say, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And especially in like this internet age where people can hide behind a keyboard or hide behind a screen, people say things that are totally inappropriate and that I know they wouldn't say in real life.
Yeah, to your face
or to anyone's face.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Right. They're hiding behind this like anonymity type situation.
So
let me ask you a quick question about that.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is more difficult? Is it more difficult to put yourself out there, or is it more difficult to be popular at it, to get followers, to get traction? What's more difficult? Just getting out there and like taking the risk?
I think that's. I would say getting the success with it is definitely harder.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get over any insecurities you may have.
Okay.
I mean,
for
I
you
imagine,
it is.
Yes. I imagine for anyone.
How do you handle the shitbags that just say stupid shit like,
you see,
Joe, get a new fucking style for your mustache or whatever the fuck they say.
You see, I engage with every single one of them.
You're awesome. How the hell do you do that?
And it's like the kind of thing where I don't. I think they say it not expecting me to be a real person or to like actually be the one that's controlling the account and actually reading the DMs or actually reading things that I'm tagged in. And so I see it a lot on for BuzzFeed Tasty. They have 68 million followers or something. I'm just throwing out a number, but something.
Yeah, it's a lot.
In
it's
that
huge.
Range. And so when I get posted and reposted on BuzzFeed, which happens often, a lot of people come out of the woodwork and just say the most random, ridiculous thing.
Give me one just off the wall thing.
I did a steamed chicken recipe. It was like chicken baked inside of a pumpkin, which is ridiculous.
I saw that. Yeah,
it's steamed. It's like in a vessel.
Right.
So, and every comment was just like, ew, the skin is so soggy. The chicken looks soggy. There's no flavor. You didn't use any seasonings. There's no flavor. And it's like, people will have to get over this conception that just because there's no spices doesn't mean it's not seasoned.
Yeah.
And there's such thing as like not crispy skinned chicken, like boiled chicken, steamed chicken. Like there's many ways to cook chicken.
Yep.
And just so many negative comments are like bar face and gross and da, da, da. It's like.
Although I wouldn't know anything about that because I can't cook chicken to save my life.
I think every time you've had to cook chicken, even against me in Last Chance Kitchen, didn't work out for you.
So your chicken looked amazing to me, Joe.
So
I get the recipe.
I do know how to cook chicken. I've cooked chicken very well on all the occasions that I've been put up to it. And
so what do you say back to those people? So when they heckle you or they say, "Hey Joe,"
I just engage.
Yeah.
A lot of like sometimes depending on how negative they are.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, "Hey, that's really mean. Why are you being mean?" And just like something like that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh my god," I'll get like a DM or something.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oops, sorry,
sorry, I was having a bad day. I didn't mean it."
Love that.
Some other people will respond and be like, they think I'm personally hurt by it, and us strangers will reach out and be like, "Dude, don't get upset by them. They're just like being mean on the internet."
Yeah.
And like because there's no tone in comments.
Right.
And that's like, so people don't realize that even my comment back, it's like, I'm not saying anything upset. I'm not like frustrated or agitated. I'm literally smiling and just
I'm just engaging with you, man. I want to hear your story.
Yeah. And
What's up?
so.
Why so negative?
Why so negative?
Yeah, why is this chicken bumming you out so hard?
Yes. Why are you getting that upset about this? They're like taking it personally. And then because they take it so personally, they think I'm taking it personally.
Right.
But that's not the case. And I just very much like roll with it and to have fun with it and respond to every single one of them. And a lot of times like people are like, "Oh, you're being because I'm responding." What do people say? They're like, "Oh, you can't take any criticism."
Oh yeah,
or
I love that.
It's like I'm not arguing back with you.
Sure.
I'm literally just like responding and saying, "Hey, that's not nice."
Yeah, I'm just calling you out for being kind of a meanie.
And
were you always able to kind of let that shit roll off your back and just like at first did it kind of bother you and you
not that shit particularly.
Okay.
Growing up, like flashback, high school or whatever, high school, middle school, definitely was like the target of bullying. Like I imagine most kids were. I don't know really anyone that wasn't bullied. Maybe, I don't know.
I think I was bullying people.
You were the bullier.
I was a meanie.
You were the meanie. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was being bullied for the most part. And so like I had lived and grew up with that.
Yeah.
And so I think now at this point I know like who I am. I'm comfortable and confident in everything that I do. And so I've gotten to the point where like those things don't bother me. Like you can't really say most people. I can't think of things people can say to me. I'm sure there are things.
Sure.
That I would get like personally upset about or offended.
Everybody's got feelings.
Yes. So I just I let it all go, and it's just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
It's social media, and people forget that it's social media, and that the point is to be so social.
Right.
Like
totally
engage with everyone.
Yep.
There's a lot of high-profile accounts out there that are literally just accounts. They're not people. They've lost the social aspect.
Right. They're a marketing machine or something.
So I've always, no matter how much I grow or get into, I try to always take that approach and remember I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for those people that have always supported me or that follow me or that make my recipes or whatever it is. And so I want to make myself available to them. I want to be social. I want to there's a two-way street. It's a two-way dialogue. And
would you say that that's part of the success of being a creator is being engaging and being available?
I like to think so.
Okay.
Because it's part of building a community. And so that community supports you. It uplifts you. It helps extend your reach. Yep. It's like all of the things that not only like the algorithm likes to make your content more popular.
Right.
It's just things that the community likes. People like to be heard. People like to be seen.
Do you pay attention to the algorithm? Do you like
I have
look
my
at that
own
stuff?
Theories, yes.
Okay. But you do like track it like every month. You kind of look at it and say what's going on with my.
Not that detailed. No.
It's just like a rough
I have a rough I have theories as to like things that perform well, things that don't. Why
if I do
things
this,
do well.
this gets good, a lot of traction.
All of those.
You want to share any of your secrets?
I have a firm belief that much like facial recognition, there is text recognition.
Okay.
So if you post a flyer or you use particular keywords that is blatantly promoting something, come to my dinner, buy tickets for this, don't forget to tune in for that. Instagram doesn't like that. because you're not paying Instagram for that marketing exposure.
Right.
You're not running ads.
Ooh.
And so it picks up on that. You're trying
and
to
you think
create
there's an
ad.
algorithm that kind of like filters that
Suppresses that stuff. Versus if you just post something that's like, here's a picture of a cute cat.
Yeah.
You're not promoting anything. You're just
You're
sharing
like,
love.
I'm bringing this cute cat to my dinner.
Yeah.
See you there.
But see, you said "see you there."
Oh, and they're like, no.
I would remove the word "see you there" from my caption.
But what if I use the "see you"
I
for
think
Church and Union?
It hasn't gotten that smart yet.
So see you there.
Yeah, I
Got
think
it?
you're safe with that. I think we all know at this point everybody's pushing video content.
Yep.
So it's like we're no longer posting just photos.
Yep. Do you think algorithms like video? Like they like the reels and the
They've
clips?
said like the I forget his name, the CEO, CFO, whoever the controller of Instagram is.
Yeah.
Has come out and said yes, it's
100%.
We're
Videos are
struggling
where it's at.
against YouTube and TikTok. We need to
More.
post video.
Got it.
And like now they've even come out with like bonuses. Where if you post reels, they pay you per like couple cent per reel.
Are you getting paid for your social media stuff?
Oh yeah. It's
That's-
a source of income for
Cool.
sure. And I think like one thing to point out, since you mentioned that, and we're talking about like creators and kind of getting into this, is that it's a very bad or unhealthy logic to get into doing this with the goal of making money off of it.
Sure.
Because it's going to be inauthentic. It's not going to feel real. You're going to get mentally torn down because it takes long to build and to get to the point where you can make money off of this.
It becomes
And
a job.
Well, yes, it's very much a job, but just the fact there's like you need to love what you do in order for it to be real and successful. No matter what it is, whether you're a painter, a chef, a content creator, a doctor,
100%.
if you have to love what you're doing and actually enjoy it to be successful at it. I'm a firm believer in that.
Totally.
And so, same thing applies to when you're creating content. If you go into it like, hey, I want to be a YouTuber, I just want to make ad revenue or whatever it is.
Yep.
You're not going to do well, and you're going to get almost like disappointed and depressed when it takes longer or when you don't do well and all of those things. And so it's very easy to forget that like, it takes time and you just have to be enjoying what you're doing. There's no secret
Recipe
algorithm unlocking the secrets of like growth from 0 to 100,000 in 30 days.
You have to make the connection and build the community for it to be successful.
And like you said, you asked, is it a job? It is absolutely a full-time job to the point where, taking the time to respond to every comment, taking to respond to DMs, engaging with other accounts, commenting back on things.
So let's talk a little bit about your method. Because, I think all chefs or most chefs worth their salt definitely got involved in some virtual content during the pandemic, right? We were all closed. Like there was no restaurants. I mean, I did it. I knew you were doing. I mean, I think we talked about it at some point. I was like, "Yo, what am I doing? Give me some tips." And mine wasn't really to create revenue. It was to stay relevant and engaged. It was like to let my people know, "Hey, we're still here.
We're still here."
Yeah, like I may not.
I think
be
a
at the
lot of
restaurant.
people got into it for that.
Yeah, and
Which is a
so
very good. I love that approach.
yeah, just to like stay connected, right? Now that's obviously different than what you do. So the question is, a couple questions. One, is this kind of your passion? Has this grown as like a product of like you love to do it, and this is your your satisfaction in your cooking now?
I think so, and in a different way than cooking.
Yeah.
Because I originally started it early on, 2020, March, April, whenever that was.
I think it was March that everybody was like...
Mid-March, April. By then, it's like, oh my God, lockdown orders, staying inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started cooking.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to make food that I want to make and things I want to eat, comfort food, good food, recipes I hadn't tried before. And Bella started filming me doing it. We would like edit it together very roughly and just post it. And seeing other people then recreate those recipes within hours or
and like
days,
post them on your
and
thing.
post them back. That was just as gratifying to me as cooking for people.
Yeah.
And so
You're
that
getting
filled
people to cook.
a huge void in that kind of like gratification that I was missing as a chef. Like, we get enjoyment out of cooking and serving others. That's
Taking
why
care
we
of
do
people.
what we do, taking care of people.
Yep.
So even though I wasn't able to travel anymore and wasn't able to cook for people, I was able to cook with people. And so that became a huge kind of way of feeling better about the current situation and getting through it.
Yep.
And now at this point, fast forward, it has very much become a job, a business, a focus in a different sense. I still love it. I enjoy it. I like making content. I like sharing recipes. I don't necessarily like writing recipes. If anybody out there follows me and knows, I don't post recipes very often.
Yeah.
When I do, they're usually like behind a paywall or they're hidden.
Yeah.
For the reason I don't, it's work.
Yeah.
They're like people
Yeah.
feel very entitled to a recipe these days.
And
they
it's-
see something and it's like they immediately think,
recipes are not the sexy part of what we do.
oh, it's the worst.
Yeah,
I
it's
hate
like,
it.
yeah, it's the worst.
And I just am working on a cookbook now, and so
How's that going?
we're
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into
that's
that.
a whole nother
So,
conversation.
and I want to know about your method now. So you got into it, because of the pandemic, and we had to do something. That was how you connected with your base and all
Yep.
that. And now it's morphed into a job, a paying gig, a full time, and you're always posting really great content. What is your method? How do you approach that? And because I know when I was doing just the little stuff that I was doing, it's a lot of work to do the shop, to prepare all your stuff.
So
there's a lot to it. So what does that
I've
look
gotten
like for
to
you?
the point where I am, and I don't know if it's a healthy addiction, but I'm definitely addicted to filming everything that I do, everything that I eat. And so I'm literally sitting on hours and months or weeks of content.
Yeah.
And so because it's like I'll be making lunch, I'll just set up my camera on the little tripod or the overhead thing and just film like whatever I'm making. And usually I don't do anything with it. It just sits in a
You're
folder
just like, I got
on
it
a
in
hard
case.
drive and it's there. And it's like I edit all my own content. I make all my own videos. I do all my own photography. And so, it's nice to have that backlog.
Yeah.
Because then you always have things to work on.
Right.
And if I ever get in a position where maybe I have an editor or I have a bigger team, I have things I could give them. But my method is definitely just stay ahead on it.
Just film everything.
Film everything. Have it. You don't need to use everything.
Yeah.
And that's like one of my things I tell people as they're starting. I was like, just start filming everything. Because one, you have to get comfortable in front of being in front of the camera.
That takes
And
some
you don't
work.
always have to be in front of the camera. There are
Yeah.
plenty of successful content creators and people who do this that never show their face. It's just their hands, or they have their own shtick, their angle, that they're not on it. Because not everybody is good on camera. That's fair. But I got used to it. I like being on camera.
People
I like
love your
talking to the
mustache.
camera. People love seeing the mustache.
Yeah.
I just recently found out from people because I've always been not cautious. I've been cognizant of making sure that you look put together when you're on camera. You don't look like you just rolled out of bed.
Right. You don't want to be a schlep.
You don't want to be a schlup, and sometimes the mustache will look like a schlup when you wake up.
Yeah.
But I've gotten some feedback where people were like, I actually really like those Easter egg moments
Where you're like,
you'll
ooh,
post something.
Joe's not all put together today.
Yes.
I'm going to save this one of
I'm
my
a real-
favorites.
I'm a real person too.
Yeah. I love
and,
that.
Sometimes you don't have the mustache ready, but you need an apple fritter, and you want it to
And
record it.
We got to go now. The oil's hot.
The oil's hot or the fritter's here. You're not going to go do your mustache just to eat a fritter,
Right.
just because you want to share the fritter and the joy of the fritter
Right.
with other people. And so it just, sometimes that stuff's out there.
I got to pay better attention. I haven't seen these.
They exist.
Okay,
And,
I'm gonna have to go back.
I'm
I'm gonna have to go back through the.
I have my
archives.
YouTube channel now with vlogs and travel and eating, and now that I'm back to traveling much more often.
Yep.
I try to do at least one vlog in each city that I'm in, whether it's behind the scenes of the event that I'm doing, or just I was in Tucson, I did a taco crawl. We went to 4 different tacos. I say we.
Yeah.
I say we, meaning me and everyone else out there in the digital world.
All of you.
All
come
of you.
Come with.
But
him.
I talk in the
Yeah.
we sense.
Yeah.
I think even
Like,
walking
we're all
onto the
together
boat,
in this.
I was like, oh, we're on our way to go do a podcast, and it's just me.
Yeah. I love it.
But I say we because I'm so used to feeling like
Okay.
I have this community.
So people should know that we is not you and your multiple personalities.
No,
it is. It's you and
and
everybody
everyone
with
that's
you.
coming along.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's we, you and me,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just the one person watching, so they feel you know that closer connection. But yeah, we is never a group; it's just me.
Yeah.
And then part of the process of when we talked about process, creating the content, loving the creating of the content, then filming all the content, editing the content, and then the part that I'm not necessarily as good at, where I really lean heavily, is Bella.
Okay.
She's she's my partner, but digitally mastermind
Yes.
behind the entire Instagram brand and everything Joe Sasto. She has that kind of eye and touch and inspiration for the music, for the words and the copy, and for when in the order and aesthetic of things should look and come together.
Yeah. So you lean pretty heavily on her for her taste and all that stuff.
Oh, yes.
And you're more the gatherer of content. I'm going to
Exactly.
make the dish, do the thing, talk to the people, and then Bella helps kind of shape what it all kind of looks like,
100%.
finished product look like.
I would not be the same. It would not look as polished and finished
Yeah.
without her expertise. And I think, that's not to be underplayed or taken for granted. And I think that's could, just as hard, if not harder,
Yeah.
than just making all of the content.
Right.
Because
Oh,
having
yeah.
it in a presentable, digestible, aesthetically pleasing format that gets people to come back over and over again
Yeah.
is, the critical key to success.
So does it kind of work like, so you put together whatever let's say the clip or the video or the whatever, right? Whatever it is you're doing that piece for. And once you get that kind of edited and put together, you kind of bring Bella and say, hey,
I drop it into, we have like
This is what I got.
I
This
have
is-
albums. So I have
Okay.
albums, and then there are apps like planner apps.
Yeah.
I think there's one, I forget what it's called. We use Preview.
Okay.
And it ties to your Instagram, and it looks like your grid. Mm-hmm. And then you put in all your covers, and you can move them around. And so
Gotcha.
we have, we try to stay a week ahead on it, but they're loaded in with just tons of things. And so anytime she gets inspiration, she uses her song, something she wants
she
to
can-
see,
she can drop
she
it
looks
in.
at Preview, and then sees what I have available.
It says this will work.
This will work.
Yeah.
And then,
Cool.
so we have a system.
That's great. How much time do you spend creating the content, doing the editing, building the finished product?
Oh,
By
God.
percentage. You don't have to be super.
Yeah,
thorough. I'm
it's
just
so,
curious.
it varies drastically. It takes hours sometimes to do one video because I'm like pulled in a bunch
You're
of
all
different
over the
directions.
place. Got it.
It's all about multitasking, time management. One thing, some videos definitely are easier and quicker than others, like plating videos or cooking videos. Quick and easy.
Yeah.
Because you have less footage to work with.
Yeah.
You cook through the dish once,
Yep.
or you plate the dish once and you're done.
Yep.
What takes me
You
really
can, like,
long
plate it, like,
is
once
the
or twice.
pasta making videos.
Yeah.
Because I make 30 pieces of pasta, and so you have 30 repetitions of the same thing to edit through, and then you watch each one, and then you have to decide which one
one's
you,
the
want,
best.
you want to
Yeah.
use. And then if you move the camera or you get 3 different angles, now you have 90 versions
Yeah.
of
And you're obsessed with pasta, so now you're like, you spend a lot of time going, oh, wait, do I want this
yes,
one or that one?
Yes.
You're like, shit, hey, Bella, which one do you
which
like
one
better?
looks better?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll end up with like 3 or 4 exports of the same video.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I'll it works well for YouTube Shorts and TikTok, where I could just upload things in various times and it's less curated. Mm-hmm. Where Instagram is definitely much more curated. We talked about being glamorous and
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
So Instagram usually only sees one version
Okay.
of whatever content
It's
is.
like it's a one and done. This is
One and
this
done.
is the show.
Instagram doesn't see any of like my cooking vlog or my travel and eating vlogs.
Okay.
My I hate the word saying restaurant review, because I don't like reviewing. I never give out ratings.
Right.
I just like sharing
Sharing
my
the
love
places
of
you
food.
go.
And so I share me eating. It's like almost like, which I hate the word. I don't know where, mukbang. It sounds so dirty.
Yeah, it does.
Like I don't know why.
Like,
It's like it sounds like you're doing something inappropriate.
Yeah.
But mukbang, and like people just like to watch other people eat.
Yeah.
And so that's very much what my travel eating and food blogs are more like. Just me enjoying the food, describing the food. I don't like giving out reviews. If
Yeah.
something's not good, most chances are I'm not going to post about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to post about it to say
That's
it's
the,
bad.
that's the Jonathan Gold situation. You're
Right.
like, if it sucks, just forget about it
Forget
and move
about
on.
it.
Find something better.
There was one time, and I don't know, Bella's may even get mad at me for saying this on here, where it was, I went to Pat and Gino's in Philly, the
Okay.
2 famous cheesesteak places.
Yep.
And they're so famous, I knew me saying and posting something negative about them was not going to hurt them. It's like saying something bad about Disney.
Yeah, They've been around forever. It does not matter
Does
what
not
your
matter.
opinion is.
It's,
your
Disney's going to keep going. Pat and
Yeah.
Gino's is going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I went to Philly, and I had to have the cheesesteaks, and I knew Pat and Gino's was not going to be good. Like, I knew it was
Yeah, it was overhyped.
overhyped.
It's like
It was a tourist. It's like going to Fisherman's Wharf and getting a bowl of clam chowder. But I had to do it,
the bread bowl.
Yep.
In a bread bowl, please.
and I was so disappointed. Like,
Really?
talk about a mistake. And it was just not good. I couldn't even eat it. I gave it away to, I think, a homeless person that was walking by.
Wow.
And I was just like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Just so...
That's so sad.
So bad.
It's sad when that happens because, like, well, you kind of knew. Like, you kind of had the feeling you're like, all right.
I knew going into it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And
but,
there are
but,
things
but a
I've
cheesesteak
gotten...
is a thing, like, it's like a burger. Like, when you're going for a burger, like, I don't eat a ton of burgers, but when I go for one, I'm like, God, I hope this is so good. You know? Because, like, I love them. Like, I have a visceral joy when I eat a good burger. And the same thing with cheesesteak. And when it's bad, you're, like, so let down.
Yep.
It's like, oh, bummer.
You just want it, and it wasn't. And so that was one time I think I posted on my story. I was like, I made a huge mistake, and just posted a picture of the Pat and Geno's like in my hand.
So you weren't blatantly dogging them. You just kind of like.
I was like, I made a huge mistake, and posted Pat and Geno's, and it was maybe up for like an hour or two before Bella saw it and was like, "You got to take that
She's
down.
like, no.
Got to take that down." Veto. I got the veto card, and it's funny because one of our friends, she even noticed it was up. She was like, "Oh yeah, you never post anything like that."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh
yeah, this is seedy, man. Joe's feisty right now."
She's like, "It must have been really bad."
Yeah. Wow. So, is there one platform that you enjoy doing over another? Like, is it Instagram versus like the YouTube's fairly new to you?
Yeah,
enjoying
YouTube.
that?
I'm definitely late on the train.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Do you like it?
I see YouTube as like almost like a means to an end at this point. I don't do YouTube as, I wouldn't hate being a full-time YouTuber. Like I said, I like making content. I like filming things. I like talking to the camera. I like doing all the production, getting more into television and all of those things. But right now, YouTube is definitely just another outlet to put another version of myself, or not another version, another angle of myself out there for people to enjoy and consume.
Yep.
Joe Sasto.
Yeah.
In a way you don't see it on any of the other platforms.
Right.
So they're longer videos.
So you do have, so you have a specific, it's different content, longer video, different format than the stuff that
because
people
a
are
lot
addicted to.
and what you see on Instagram will be, you'll see a story of me going somewhere, which one disappears in 24 hours, and it usually, I try to limit the number of frames because people get bored, or the algorithm doesn't like a bunch of frames because it tracks if people click through it or skip or swipe, all of those things.
So you got to keep it to your right.
Keep it to the right
volume.
Because I know, like, I'm very much like I will fly through people's story if they're moving the camera too slow.
Yeah, you're
nah, done. You're done.
Yeah,
like,
bye. Sorry,
you took too long to pan over.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
I'm on the puppy smiling now.
Yeah,
I'm looking at puppy smiling.
So I'm trying to be very cognizant of that too as I do it. For other people. But YouTube obviously is a longer format sort of situation. And so, to me, if you post YouTube channels, in theory, you eventually get to the point where you're generating ad revenue and they're just kind of like functioning there for people to enjoy at their own leisure or leisure. I don't know.
I'm a leisure man.
Leisure.
Yeah.
And so
either one's fine.
Yeah, that's YouTube. In a sense, I wouldn't say I like others anything more than the other.
Okay, they're each different.
They're all just different.
You enjoy them kind of.
Yeah.
Do you miss the kitchen, the restaurant kitchen?
Yes and no. I don't miss having to go in every day and put out the fires, and not literal fires for everybody listening.
Yeah.
Like
but sometimes they're little
sometimes there are literal fires.
But usually it's just.
People calling out sick, or things not showing up, or
fish is stuck in
stuff
wherever,
getting missed. All of those things, I don't miss. I don't miss like that pressure to have to be there every night and expedite service and oversee every.
You got to show up.
plate
You got to show up every day.
Or
else it affects the overall experience of your place or people's.
Which is like, it's such a different angle now that I take, because I work 7 days a week still. Like doing this creator, whatever you want to call it, chef creator. I'm still working every single day. I still get up at 7 a.m. I still go to bed at midnight, 1 a.m. because I'm working the whole time. It's not like I'm sitting on my ass watching Netflix. I don't have time to watch Netflix.
Right.
It's literally just as busy, if not more busy, than when I was in a restaurant.
Yep.
It's just a different busy.
Right.
I have different things I'm doing, but still doing things all day long. And I think that's part of like that glamorous side of Instagram people don't see. They think like, oh, you know, Joe's just traveling and living the life of luxury. And it's like, yes, I do. I'm very grateful and thankful to be able to do all of these really exciting, amazing things.
Yeah.
But I work very hard to be able to do that.
Would you consider it a grind? Like you're grinding out, like
it's I mean, for lack of a better word, because almost a grind makes it sound like it's not enjoyable.
Okay. How much of that work, right? If you're working every day, you're doing the content, you're constantly busy. How much of that is like inspired, like engaged, like super positive work, and how much of it's kind of like, dang, this is like I'm behind. Like I got work to do. You know, I got to like put my head down and get it done.
I would say like 60 to 70% is the good.
Okay, that's a good ratio. That's mostly.
I would say it's
a passing grade.
30%, maybe 30 to 25% is
it's like a hustle. Like I gotta focus.
Gotta get through this. I don't want to write this recipe.
Yeah.
I don't want to write this proposal.
Right. Don't want to answer all these emails.
I got all these emails or a contract review or whatever it is.
Those are fun.
I've gotten very good at reading legalese.
Do you do all your own legal work, or do you have?
I have an agent. I have a manager. I have an assistant. I have a lawyer for like the bigger things.
Yeah.
I always even like when my manager reviews things for me, I still will read them too.
Right.
I don't.
You don't trust somebody to do all your stuff.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to sign something.
Yeah. Even if they're like, "Hey, this is good for you," you're like, "I need to know what I'm signing."
I want to read it because it's like I want to know what I'm signing. I want to know like what
the expectation
what
is,
I'm being held to.
Yep.
You know, maybe one day I won't anymore. But it's almost like that same thing. I remember being a young cook and seeing chefs, you know, celebrity chefs or whatever chefs, show up for an event 20 minutes before the event.
Yeah.
Everything was done for them.
Never touch their mise en place.
They don't look. They look over everything, shake a couple hands, take a couple photos, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And I never want to be that. I've always told myself that I will never let myself get to that point where I'm not actually like hands-on, even just the day of. Like I've gotten to the point now where I'm so busy and going from thing to engagement that I'll send recipes in advance, and people are prepping some of the things for me.
Some of like the base recipes that take time.
They'll do braises, they'll do some stocks, they'll make a puree. Then the day of, I always try to get there early.
Yeah. Get your hands on everything.
In the kitchen as early as anyone will let me. Mm-hmm. Because I do miss that part of it. Yeah. I do miss being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I do miss prepping. I do miss cooking. I
cooking
do miss
in an environment with like a lot of other cooks.
Setting up for service, getting all your mise en place and your pans, and it's therapeutic, and it's having everything in its place.
I refer to the kitchen as my dojo.
Your dojo.
When I walk into any one of our kitchens, in any of the restaurants, and it's like, you know, maybe not as clean as I wanted, or it's not organized. They're having a hectic day. Somebody called out, and the place is kind of, you know, you feel that energy of like, it's that, oh shit, I can't stand it. I go in there, I'm like, whoa, we need to fix the dojo.
Right.
Like we got to get the feng shui is off. We got to get organized.
Take a moment and reset.
Yeah, let's everybody take a breath. Let's wipe down. Let's get set, and then we can get back into the groove. I can't, and I can't walk into a kitchen where I haven't like had my hands on my chives.
Yep.
Like nobody cuts my chives for me. I do my own chives. You know, like I totally respect that. Like you gotta have to see it, feel it, you know, before you can just walk in and make magic with it.
I'm not just gonna ever be in that position, even if I have the opportunity to be in the position.
Because you enjoy doing the cooking part.
Because I enjoy doing the cooking. I enjoy doing the setup and going through those motions.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, like, you know, if you didn't love line cooking as a chef, like before you were a chef, this isn't the right career path for you.
Right.
Because it's like, I think if you talk to any chef, they're so happy to be able to line cook.
Yeah, just, can I manage this station?
I just worry about
I want to worry about
this station.
I've got 5 dishes.
I'm
all
line
over
cook. I don't want to have to expedite or do anything else.
Or worry about what's going on over there.
You know.
Totally.
It's when they have to line cook and expo and place orders and deal with everything else
hard.
becomes
work. Becomes work.
Yes.
It is hard. When did you start traveling again? I mean, we're still kind of coming out the tail end of everything.
I've been traveling, I mean,
a bit.
Quite, definitely a bit. And I mean, even coming out of COVID, I didn't travel 2020, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think 2021 became more as everybody started putting protocols into place.
Yeah.
You're
like, okay, cool, I know what to do.
Testing every day, testing when you get somewhere, before you get somewhere, testing on set every morning. Like,
would you say you're totally dialed into like all that stuff now? Like,
I know
you've got your kits in your back, you've got all your test kits
better than some of like the nurses that are acquiring the tests. I'll be like, oh, we didn't do the test yet today, and they're like, oh my god, you're right.
You're right. You're like,
right.
I have my results right here. I've got you.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, which kind are we doing? What day does it need to be shipped to me? All of the things. So definitely, yeah. One thing, since we are talking about content, and if anybody out there is listening that is an aspiring creator in that sense, one thing I always like to say is like you could do a lot of this with your phone. Like, everybody's obsessed with going out and getting a camera or a Canon or Sony and all this expensive stuff.
The lights and the things.
If you have a window of natural light and you have an iPhone, whatever, I can't speak to Android because I'm not an Android user. If you are, God bless you.
Yeah.
But definitely in the world of iPhone here. And so you could do it all on there.
Yeah.
The editing is where it does get tricky.
Yeah.
There's an app called Splice. It's a paid app. It costs money, but it's cheaper than Final Cut Pro.
Okay.
But Final Cut is a great entry into editing. There may be free versions out there. I use Final Cut. I use Lightroom for my photos. But that's really your only big expense. You don't need to be going out and buying all these things.
This stuff.
I did one thing I always like to say when I'm like telling people if you are going to buy things, keep in mind it's a business expense when it comes to like your taxes and writing things off. So definitely keep track of that. But I have made the mistake of always buying the cheaper version of something and then 6 months later needing to buy the better one.
Yep. It doesn't do the things you need it to do, or it's
outdated. And now I have like 3 or 4 tripods because I finally now have like the $300 tripod that I didn't want to buy at the beginning.
Right.
Because I was like, $300 for a tripod. That's
you're like,
crazy.
I might not use it. What if I only use it part of the time?
Yes.
And now you're like, shit.
Now,
I wish I used this thing all the time.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I should have just got the nicer tripod.
Right.
Same thing with like the lights. I was like, oh, just a $20 ring light. Great. Now it's like I have 4 sets of lights because I finally got the nicer ones that I use all the time.
Do you use the other stuff at all?
No, it's gone.
You've leveled up and you're like, I should.
And I've definitely grown into it though.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a challenge for me to recommend to other people because it's definitely an investment. It's expensive, but I'm at the point now where
this is your main gig.
I'm making money off of it, and I need it's worth investing in the right tools.
Yep.
It's like, I could see it similar to chef's knives.
Yeah, totally.
You don't need a $2,000 Japanese chef's knife when you start line cooking. But eventually, you're going to be the sous chef or the chef that's butchering all of the fish and doing things really nicely, and you're going to need a good knife.
Yep.
And so maybe it makes sense to start with the cheap versions of things. Make sure you enjoy doing this.
Learn how to sharpen it, because you can fuck up a knife pretty good trying to learn how to sharpen it.
Moving into the more expensive products, but that's something to definitely keep in mind.
Yeah.
If we're talking
be cognizant of it so it doesn't catch up to you.
Advice. In getting into this space, as there's probably a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
That's no joke. The last thing I want to ask you about is how you see the next evolution of Sasto working. We got to talk about Tantos real quick too, because this is part of it. But like, are you hoping to get more into doing the events, doing the traveling, like the wine and foods and the Aspens and all that, or do you want kind of a healthy balance of like your content creating meets? Or what? How do you see this thing shaping up for you?
I'll tell you this. It's always an evolution.
Okay.
It's an evolution. And I know more so of the things I don't want. Like, I don't want a restaurant anymore.
Okay.
At this point in time.
Yep.
Bella always tells me, she's like, oh, you will go back to wanting that. And maybe she's right.
Yep.
She's a woman. She's always right.
Yep.
But
not right now.
I know right now I don't want a restaurant that I have to be at every day and be attached to. Granted, having a fast casual restaurant or scalable concept is still on the wish list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a cookbook, like I said. I'm trying to get into more television and production. All of the content things. I have my pasta tool line.
Yep.
And
Which I need one of those badly.
You do. And most excitingly is I just launched a pasta snack line called Tantos.
I saw this.
So puffed pasta snack. Think of it almost as like a plant-based chicharron.
Yep.
Same texture. in 4 of the classic, my favorite Italian flavors: tiramisu, cacio e pepe, pesto marinara. And so now that I'm on the road and doing events, and whether it's a walk around tasting or dinner, I find a way to work Tantos into it.
Are you carrying bags of Tantos with you?
I have them with me all the time now.
Just
They're always with me.
Like stuffed in a pack.
They come on the plane. I always try to. I'm sorry, I forgot to bring them. They were in my hand. They're in my hotel room. I'll try to get you some before I leave.
No, I will get them.
And so they're, right now, we're a direct to consumer with them.
Okay.
As we're scaling, the demand is higher than we're able to produce.
That's a quality problem.
Which is a great problem to have.
Yep.
But the problem being is that they are gluten. It is pasta. And a lot of these co-packers out there, we're having trouble finding ones that will do what we need at the scale that we need because they don't want gluten.
Right.
No one wants gluten
because
in their
then they have to
anymore.
It affects the other products
that they're making, that they're puffing, that they're turning into chips. So right now, if you're interested, eattantos.com, Eat Tantos on Instagram. We're doing monthly drops, like limited edition shoes. We release it.
When does it release? Is it
It's different every month. You sign up for the email reminder.
It'll hit
you. A countdown goes on the website, like usually 2 weeks or so before. So you'll see the ticker at the top. That'll say however many days, hours, seconds. And
how
then
fast are you selling out?
The past couple of months has been sub 10 minutes.
Wow! Holy shit! You got to have your.
You got to be
on.
And it's like I'll get
your
text,
Apple Pay ready to roll.
I get texts from friends, and they're like, "I missed it." And
you
got to
give me. You got to give me a text like the day before you drop the notice.
My family's still like they have a hard time getting them, and so like
there's going to be a Tantos black market out there.
They're in demand. You're not the first person that said that.
I know. I think
they're definitely. It's funny. I was just prepping them for the event here that I'm doing tomorrow. And one of the chefs tried one. He was like, "Oh man, these are so good. Have you ever thought about bagging them? This is such a good snack."
You're like, "Bro, don't you know who I am?"
I was like, "Oh yeah,
I'm the creator of Tantos."
That's
man.
Why you're not the first person to say that. And it always started with, "Why don't you bag these?"
Yeah. Well, how long have you been working on it? Because when we
it's
were
been a 2-year endeavor.
When we were on All Stars together, you were talking about it.
It's been been in 2 years easily, from inception, longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
Making the product, developing the product, figuring out the flavors, making the spice blends, coming up with the exact methodology of it, and then the branding, the packaging, the design work, finding people to do all of that. Luckily, I have a really great partner who also is like one of my best friends, and so he runs the whole business side of things. He's an entrepreneur and started his own business from his dorm room that now is wildly successful in the pet chew toy industry.
Sign me up.
And so he was looking for a new endeavor. He was a big fan of mine and pasta making and cooking. He tried them. He was one of those people that was like, "Have you ever thought about bagging these?" I was like, "I have, but I have no idea how."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well,
you got any ideas, guy?
Will you let me figure it out for you?" And I was
you're like, "Hell yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Sign me up.
That would be great.
Sign me up.
So that's always, the best case scenarios when you could position yourself and surround yourself with people that do things better than you, and let them do those things better than you.
100%.
And I've heard people say that, like, I don't know if there's any truth to this because I haven't mentally been able to wrap my head around it, but I've heard that, like, even find people that could do something 70% as good as you and let them do it, because then that frees you up to do other things. I don't know, because I think that's the chef in us. Don't like giving up that much control.
Yes.
Unless it's at least like 99% of what we could do.
So one thing, the only thing that I can speak to that, because I have a bunch of restaurants now, like we're blowing up, which is awesome. But I could not do this on my own.
Right.
And if I was not able to relinquish control, we would have exploded in a ball of fury and fire.
Yes.
And sunk to the bottom
of the ocean. As an operator and an owner of anything, you have to be able to relinquish control. You got to
be able to relinquish control. You got to be able to trust people. I mean, we still have our growing pains and we have our issues. And our team is outstanding. Like, we have great people around us. Many of them do their work way better than I can. So to speak to that, we always look for the best people. And when we find them, I'll almost stop at nothing to bring them on board and make them happy and make them part of our team. But you do have to be able to settle for other people doing, realizing some of your vision. I think that's important for expansion.
Absolutely.
So go back to hit Tantos. Now I want to talk about not a restaurant,
Not a restaurant. I like doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
I like not being singular.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see that as more of the future of what I am doing.
Yep.
Trying to find ways to combine it all into one fluid. Because the more things you do, I think the more you can reach people. And maybe people don't cook or get to eat my food, but they really like snacks. And so they have my
Tantos
snack
is
food.
their
Or
thing.
maybe they are not into watching content, but they make pizza, and so they have my pasta tools. Or maybe they don't care about any of that other stuff, and they actually are big foodies or TV fans, and so they come to dinners and events.
Yep.
And I get to interact with them like that. And so I think just the more things I can do, the better. And so I'm always like holding myself to a standard where it's like I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a challenge in this space, is to remind yourself to take the time to like acknowledge your accomplishments and your successes and where you are, because it's very easy to fall into that trap of comparing yourself to others.
What other people are doing, their
And
successes,
their
whatever.
and whatever chapter of their life that they're on.
Yep.
That's not you. That's
Right.
not yours.
Yeah.
And I think like I was alluding to that earlier with like kind of like the dangers of getting into this content space, is that it's easy to compare yourself to what everyone else is doing.
How
And
many
you
followers do they
You
have?
start
How
to
many-
get down on yourself. How quickly other people put out videos. How often other people are posting. How many followers they have. Oh, you see this person doing all these brand deals, but you don't know what's going on behind
Yeah.
that screen.
They could be getting hoodwinked.
They
left
could be
and
getting
right.
hoodwinked. They
Yeah.
cannot be happy. They cannot
Yeah.
be enjoying it. They could have a
They could
team
have a
of
contract.
40 people
Yeah.
helping them.
Sure.
And you're comparing yourself to them, and it's just you.
Right.
And so,
Being
that, I
honest with
think,
yourself, with what you're doing,
be honest
your
with yourself,
accomplishments.
with your accomplishments, what you're doing, and acknowledge every small win.
Yeah.
For yourself. And so I need to get better at that.
Yeah.
Because I constantly tell myself I'm not doing enough, and it's like I could be one of the business people that I know in my circle. Yes, there are definitely other people more busy than me, but I got a lot going on. Gratefully, thankfully, I couldn't do it without surrounding myself with strong, powerful women that are
Yeah.
able to help influence a lot of my decisions. I realized, I was talking to someone, I was like, oh yeah, my manager, my agent, everybody is a woman. That
Yeah.
I have no men in my life, and I think maybe that's for the best.
It could be. I'm down with that. We have a lot, like many of our managers and our executives and our VPs in our group are women. I think they outnumber the men in our group. Even some of my best chefs are
Yeah.
women. So go women,
women.
Yeah. I want to talk about another time. I want to get you on another podcast, and I want
okay,
to
so
talk
do it again.
about. I want to talk about Sasto off the camera, and what you do when you're not creating content, like all that good stuff. Like if you could not be on camera for a week and not record any content, what would you be doing? You don't answer it now. I want you to think about it, because I know because you talked about.
I find myself, that's hard.
Like, what would you do? Because you're always, you were recording walking down the dock, coming to the boat, like just strolling on the dock. So if you had to not, like you weren't allowed to create content for a week, what would you do with yourself? Don't answer now. We're gonna do another podcast like in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll grab you on a Zoom, and we'll do a quick kind of like follow up to.
Yeah, no, that's
Is that
good.
cool?
Yeah, very cool. I'll think
Awesome.
about that.
Sweet.
That sounds so. See that is a testament to, yes, I'm addicted to
Right, because right now your mind is
filming.
blank. You're like,
I'm like blank. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not allowed to film what I do for a week?
Well, why would I get on
I
that?
wouldn't do anything then.
Like-
and then you're like, that sounds horrible.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what kind of person says that?
Yeah.
So,
so,
very
so
interesting.
you got to think about that. Joe, thanks for being on Eating Habits, man. It was awesome to catch up with you. I haven't seen you in forever. Man, the best of luck to you, dude. I'm
Thank
so
you so
stoked for
much.
you.
So good to be on the. Remind me of the name of our vessel.
SV Blue Healer.
The SV Blue Healer.
Blue Healer.
The SV Blue Healer. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that a mouthful?
SV Blue Healer. I don't know.
SV Blue Healer.
Okay. Come sail on our boat with us.
Yes.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for listening, everybody. That was fun.
See you next time.